I am so excited to introduce you to our first special guest, the lovely Karen Brook from Brisbane, Australia. And I first met Karen 4.5 years ago. And you know how Bob says you're going to need a telescope to recognize where you were? That is I think explains pretty accurately, an understatement of where Karen was when I met her 4.5 years ago to the Karen Brook we know today. So we're just going to sit here and have a little chat about being a student of this material and what that being a serious student has done for Karen and her life and her family.
So, I mean, we're always curious, obviously, as you may be too. Everybody asks, how did you come across Bob Proctor and the material?
It was actually through a meditation. I was at a point in my life where I was looking for answers and searching as one does, and by the grace of God, and I came across an abundance meditation. I'd never heard of Bob Proctor. And I thought, well, I'm going to do this. And very early on, he says, do it for 30 days. So I've never done anything like that before. And on day 14, I remember sitting bolt upright in bed. And I thought, this man knows something I've never heard anybody else teach before.
Oh, wow. That's powerful.
It was instant. And I got up off my bed and I went to my computer. And as they say, the rest is history.
There's more to it than that.
Well, that and a little bit of transformation.
A little bit, yeah. So I literally just knew with every cell of my being that he had something that I had missed in everything else I had studied and all my searching and reading, and that he had the missing piece of the puzzle. And I got online and I inquired straight away about how I could study this material, and I chose him as my mentor.
So what was the first big thing you noticed in your life that began to change as you really dove deep into your studies with the material?
The first big thing that really started to change was, I think, a sense of completeness. So even though I didn't understand yet what I understand today in terms of how it all fits together, I knew I had the lid of the puzzle box for the first time in my life. If we think about, we collect pieces of the puzzle. I knew and I felt whole that what I had here would set me up for what I wanted to create in my life. So I think it was an internal shift, and that gave me confidence and peace. If I really think back to that time in my life of searching and wondering and questioning, I, for the first time probably ever, had a sense of peace that, I know how to become who I'm meant to be now.
You know, I hear that so often, that sense of peace and calm.
Calmness is a big one.
Yeah, that people, and I think I've heard you say that as well, Doug. Just a knowing when you're in the material, when you really make the decision to study it, knowing you're in the right place.
Correct.
Knowing this is it. This is what I've been needing.
And you're a very serious student of this material, and I mean, I love that about you because it's really caused some amazing things to happen. Tell us what it's like being part of the Proctor Gallagher Institute, because you've been around for a while. You've met all kinds of people. I mean, for me personally, it's been such an amazing ride and connecting with such amazing people. But what's it been like for you, just really embedding yourself in the material, studying Bob, following Bob, coming to events, live streaming, things like that? What's it been like for you being part of the Proctor Gallagher Institute?
It's definitely life-changing, and again, we always talk about those sort of things, but it has certainly impacted every single area of my life, and I can share some of those stories in due course. But knowing that you're with a group of people, like-minded people, and I always say it feels like home, and it really does, that you found your place, and a community of people who are growing and who want to get better results, and are also so creative. One of the most unique things I believe I experienced coming into this was no sense of competition. That everyone is operating from the higher side of their personality, operating in the creative plane, where we celebrate each other's success, we share resources, we want to see each other win. And that is, I have never experienced it.
It's the opposite of what so many people experience
so many
out
people
there in the work world.
And I think the more students that I have watched or facilitated studying this material, they all say the same thing. So that's the difference with the Proctor Gallagher Institute, that we're all operating from a completely different.
You feel like you're, talking about home, you kind of feel like you're walking into a familiar school that you know, but it's global, it's everywhere.
And friends all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, the people you meet.
friends.
I mean, one thing I always say to people, if you're streaming with us here right now, is you might need some help with something. You might have an idea, or you might need a connection, or you might need somebody that's got knowledge that you don't have, or you might need an introduction. And that's probably one of the most powerful things about getting involved with your consultant. You not only form and become part of a local community, you become part of a global community, and your consultant knows people all around the world, and they can introduce you to people. And the connections, there's been friendships, there's been marriages.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been all kinds of amazing things really happen, and there is a real sense of community. I mean, for the people that are in LA sitting in that room live at the event, I mean, you could just watch the buzz and the energy.
Oh, the energy's amazing.
Yeah. And hopefully maybe your next step will be you'll be at a live event with us as well with your consultant. So I love that part. I just love all the connections and the help that you get. And anybody's willing to help you,
Without question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, what would you say is so much has happened for you. Oh my gosh.
Where do you start, Karen?
Where do you start? I was going to say, what's the biggest thing? I mean, it's all been big, but what's the thing that you think, really from a heartfelt perspective, what's been the biggest emotional piece for you in this whole journey as you've gone through this?
Wow.
What do you want to tell Louie and your baby on the way?
Yeah.
What kind of story do you want to tell them you have so far? You're going to have lots of stories.
And just like having this material at a time in your life when you're having babies and you can just use it to develop them. Oh my gosh, it's so special.
Didn't your son, how old's Louie?
He's 18 months.
Didn't he start playing the guitar or something?
Yes.
What?
Tell us about that.
I know. Well, you start to understand that about the subconscious mind, and so we know this now. We understand our minds and the subconscious mind. So my husband Dave is a very good guitar player, and Louis loves music, and so Dave just started to show him around the guitar and teach him about the bridge and I think it's picks, I don't even know. It's the different parts of the guitar. And it was literally one night, and the next morning he walked out. He's 18 months, there was a guitar on the lounge, and he walked out. He's 18 months, and he pointed to bridge, pick, all over the guitar.
Wow.
He's 18 months.
Yeah.
And it's understanding that they can do that and accepting it and allowing them to.
Allowing it, right, yeah.
And so I think for me, I mean, it's being able to raise children with this from birth, from before birth, from preconception,
right.
And to be able to create a marriage built, with an understanding of who we really are and how to create what we want, and that it makes for an extremely peaceful, relaxing life. I mean, not a lot of people live like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Most people live with stress and chaos and struggle, and I don't know how to get to where I want to go. And so for me, I think to answer your question, it's, marrying, attracting the man that I wanted into my life, marrying him, having children, one baby, another one on the way, being, financially successful, being very comfortable with money, from a health and fitness point of view, I mean, pushing myself beyond limits that just are crazy, doing things I never thought I would do, and really putting the material to test in every area of my life, and I have.
Well, you ran like some crazy race, right?
Yeah,
and
so
you were not a runner.
No, so I ran and won a 150-kilometre ultra marathon across the centre of Australia, the Simpson Desert, and I started running 6 months before that. And I just thought, well, I want to see what I can do with this and challenge myself in a way that I would never have. I can always challenge myself in business,
Yeah.
and
did you have Bob in your ears the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just understanding that if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, that the mind's not tired, the body might be, and understanding that to create extraordinary things. And I won it. I mean, that doesn't happen by accident. That happens by understanding this material and bringing it into your life. So I think it's, there's so many, if you let it, you can improve every single area of your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it is really holistic. I mean, when we say your whole life is going to change, your whole life is going to change.
And I think in a really positive way. Sometimes people can be scared of their life changing.
Yeah, and the impact.
And the impact of that, but understanding that when you study this and you become a student of this material, it's all for good.
Yeah.
And as you become more of who you are, everyone around you benefits from that. Your relationships, your children, your friends. It may not, you might not think that is going to be the way it is, that people will run in another direction, but it's not. Everything becomes better. And I think that's one of the beautiful things when you step into this, that you're really creating a foundation for life and a foundation for a better life for the rest of your life.
Yeah. You know, I'm just thinking, everyone that's here at this table, and many people, clients of ours, they all had a conversation. It all started with a conversation with one person about this. And so I like to encourage you to have a conversation with the person that invited you and talk to them about where you're at and what you want to do and, you know, what struggles you're facing, because, you know, our people really care and they're very well trained, they're great people, and they love to help you. So it just starts with a conversation to explore what's possible in your life. And you're going to just keep hearing from people all weekend long about how their lives have changed. You're going to see that live on stage with Bob as we go through this program. And so I just want to invite you to have that conversation.